This is a monumental moment from chaos to clarity. We're not taped, we're live. Hopefully, I'm not fired by the end of the day. Well, you never know what's coming out of my mouth sometimes. All right, we're going to let people come on in here. What are we going to be talking about? We're going to talk about the weekend. And here's the exciting part here. We're going to be answering your questions. Now, I know what a lot of the questions are going to be. How much snow at my house? Let's try to keep them general. But you know what? I'm here for you. I'm here to answer your questions. I'm just going to keep things on here and let everybody get on here for a second, and then we'll start taking some questions. I am going to start here with our snowfall map, and this snowfall map really hasn't changed much. Of course, we're talking about the weekend storm. This hasn't changed much over the last several days here. This is going to be a pretty impactful storm Saturday afternoon, Saturday night. A large area of 3 to 6 inches of snow anywhere from West Virginia across Pennsylvania. And as we've been highlighting, this area here is the epicenter of the storm. We think it's northeastern Pennsylvania and in the southeastern New England. That's where you're going to see the lion's share of the storm. Now, a lot of these lowlands areas, I don't think you're going to see lots of foots of snow, but you're going to see a lot of 9s, 10s, and 11 inches of snow. The darker blue shading, in the Berkshires, in the Catskills, this is where I think you may see some 13, 14, 15 inches. And if we do get an AccuWeather local storm max near 20, that's where it's going to end up being here. So this is the storm. And what I want to do is I want to show you future radar here because we'll kind of go over the timing of this system as we go forward here. So this is future radar here. Let me show you the timing of this as we go forward here. So let me take you into tomorrow morning. There we go. All right. About 6, 7 o'clock in the morning, there's the beginning of the storm here. Now, during the overnight hours, this is mostly going to be rain. But again, here's some snow that's starting to show up. Could be a little mixed bag in Pittsburgh for a little bit. Then it should go over to a period of snow by early afternoon. Then I'm going to stop this around 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And already you can see cities like Philadelphia. I doubt seriously you're going to get any accumulating snow out of this. I really don't. I got off the Philadelphia bandwagon about 3 days ago. I think it's mostly rain. Certainly Baltimore, Washington, D.C. Now, that doesn't mean you can't get some snow, some flakes in Philadelphia. I just don't think it's going to accumulate. It's at the bad time of the day. It's during the day. Typically, you prefer, especially when you have an absence of Arctic air. You don't have Arctic air with this. It's cold enough for snow, but the ground's still warm. So that's why I just don't think it's going to accumulate here as we move forward. And then, you can see here we is. We get toward the evening. You start talking about New York City. And of course, New York City. This is just going to be a very difficult forecast because New York City, I think it is primarily rain, but I think there are low times for a few hours here and there, a couple of hours where it could snow hard and you can get an inch or two of snow. And that's what I think can happen. I think if that's going to happen, it would be later Saturday evening in the very early Sunday morning. That would be the time frame. And then, of course, you could see that dark blue shading showing up northeastern Pennsylvania all the way in the southern tier of New England. And, that's where the bulk of the snow is going to be with this storm as we move forward here. So I'm here to answer any of your questions. I haven't gotten any yet. Waiting to hear from our Jesse Farrell to answer any questions. But really, that's the story with the storm. It is going to be a significant storm. It's not the biggest I've seen, but certainly the biggest that we've had so far this season here. All right, let me show you what's going on here in the upper levels, what we've been tracking over the last couple of days here as we're tracking this system. See, here's the energy. And remember, we talked about this. That it was a complicated setup. But remember, we always thought that this was going to be the case with this. That as this energy came out, see, this was the piece that we were watching. It was this piece. Now, even though it's weakening, we talked about this, that there'd be additional energy dropping in the southern plain states, and this is going to come to the east-northeast. And once it does, this would feed into the system. You can clearly see how that has happened, or that will happen, right there. You see that? It's this piece of energy, this elongated area feeding into the storm. That's what's going to strengthen it. Also, the timing of it, just the timing of it. When this energy feeds in, it will end up feeding in Saturday night, Sunday morning. All right, some questions coming in. This is an interesting question. Will there be thunder snow? Doesn't happen much. Let me go back to the upper levels here for a second, and I want to show you future radar, and we can answer that question for you. Typically, you get thunder snow when you get a strengthening upper level system, a closed off upper level low that's strengthening. I don't see that here. You see that? See the energy? It never really closes off. You see, you do have a lot of energy with it right in here, especially Sunday morning. Let me go back to this right in here. But I would say probably not, that I don't think that's going to happen. Now, at the same time, you have to be careful because you also get it when you get strengthening upper levels and strengthening surface storms. This storm is going to strengthen Saturday night, Sunday morning. I'm not sure it's strengthening enough for that to happen. Now, where would that happen? The thunder snow. If it would happen, you know where I think it would be? It would be across southeastern New England. Let me show you why. Let me show you, I was showing you this before, the future radar here. Let me show that to you for a second here. And then I can show you why I think it's going to be across southern New England. It's going to be, if it happens, it's going to be right in here. Right in here, it will be Saturday night. Because what's happening right now is you're getting a pretty good injection of Atlantic air, and then here's your cold air coming in from the north. So if you're going to get thunder snow, I think it would be somewhere in here. Hartford, Providence, and toward the Boston area Saturday night. This is where to look for it. I think the probability of that happening is going to be low because I just don't think the upper level system is strengthening enough. And I also don't think that the surface storm is strengthening enough. But that's an excellent question. Oftentimes in big storms, you can get thunder snow. I don't think it's going to happen at this point. All right. I know Matthew Cramp asked, that was Matthew Cramp. I knew that was Matthew Cramp asking that question. Excellent question. I think the answer is no at this point. All right, keep the questions coming here. Let me continue to go over this pattern here as we head into the weekend here. Now, once this storm goes by the way, we're not done. This is the next system that we talked about yesterday. This is coming into the Pacific Northwest tonight. Now watch what happens with this. This is going to round the bend, and that's going to be moving into the southwest on Sunday. You see that? And then across the southwest. So this is something we're going to watch for next week. I do have another question I want to get to, and this comes from Paul K. Looks like the last couple of runs, like more rain in the first half of Connecticut. More rain in the first half of Connecticut. Am I right? I haven't really noticed that as much. Connecticut's a tough part of the storm because you're on the rain snow line. Let me go back to this. Let me go back to the surface panel here really quickly. Make sure we're showing this here. So here's the surface panel here. The problem is that the rain snow line, and one of the things that we look at for the rain snow line on the modeling is what's called the 540 thickness line. That's this blue line right here. It's always been across parts of Connecticut. And I do think that initially this may start as rain in Connecticut, but I think eventually this will end up going over to the snowfield. And I think much of Connecticut is going to end up doing pretty well with this storm. In fact, let me go back to the snowfall map here quickly for Connecticut here. Here's a zoomed in version here a little bit here. So when you take a look at Connecticut here, much of the area here, central and northern part of the state, we've been bringing that 6-inch line down a little bit. So I think there's a solid area of 3 to 6, 4 to 8 inches of snow. Even this whole area, central and northern Connecticut, we're at about 6 to 10 inches of snow here. That includes the Hartford area. And in fact, what we have done, as I'm going to try to zoom on in a little bit here. You're going to lose the cities. But, much of the southern part of Connecticut now, we're in the 3 to 6 inches of snow. You notice that? So if anything, I think what we've seen is with the storm strengthening, the cold air is going to be a little more entrenched. And I think much of the state is going to pick up at least 3 inches of snow. Now, right along the coast, it may be 1 to 3 because of mixing. But boy, once you get away from the coast, a solid 3 to 6. And the central and northern part of the state, we're looking at a solid, 6 to 10 inches of snow. Much of that starting Saturday night and into a Sunday morning here. So Matthew, again, I appreciate Matthew, I appreciate your question for the snow as well. And Paul K, I like the fact that Connecticut's in a pretty good spot. All right, Matthew has another question. Where you highlighted the potential for thundersnow, do you think a banding feature will set up? Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Let me show you why here. Let's go back to my modeling here really quick. And what you're looking at here is I want you to notice the surface storm, about 1,004 millibars. That's Saturday afternoon. Saturday evening, you're down to 1,001. But watch here. Between 7 p.m. Saturday evening and 1 a.m. early Sunday, see how the storm starts dropping to 996. Now, it's not a huge drop, but the area that you're going to look for banding with this snow is right in here, northeastern parts of Pennsylvania and the southeastern parts of New England. That's where I think if you're going to get banding, that's where you're going to see it. Let me give you a little closer up map right now of the Northeast. We'll take a look at the surface map here together, and I'll show you what I'm talking about here. So as storms intensify, you start getting increased upward motion on the northern side. And I want you to focus in on something. Watch this yellow area. This is heavier precipitation. Now, this is Saturday evening. Watch how that area expands. You see that? This is the modeling show you. You're getting banding here. You see that yellow? Then watch what it does. That's 1 a.m. Sunday. And then it kind of disappears a little bit here. You see that? Here's the reason why. I've noticed this over the year. The heaviest precipitation with the storm occurs during the strengthening phase. And once you reach the peak strengthening, if it doesn't strengthen anymore, that banding stops. But I think the area to watch, and this is the area that we've been highlighting, is going to be northeastern parts of Pennsylvania and the southern tier of northeastern Pennsylvania, southern tier of New York, and New England. If you get some banding, that's where we think it's going to be. Okay. I believe we have another question here. Do you think Lakewood, New Jersey gets the back end of the snow and a small accumulation? I don't think so. I think you're too far south. The problem is if you had a strengthening upper level system, maybe, but I don't think so. I think you're going to be too far south. So I think the answer, unfortunately, is ED. I don't think you're going to get into the snow there. It's even questionable that New York City gets to 1 to 3 inches of snow out of this. It really is. So I think, unfortunately, the answer is no. I do think there can be some flurries at the end, but the accumulating snow, I think that would be very unlikely. All right, let's go back to our snow map here as we continue to go over this snow map. I want to leave this in here. So a lot of people asking about snow accumulations here. One of the areas that's going to be very tricky, by the way, with this storm, is this zone, and I've been highlighting this on the AccuWeather Network and all other videos, is this area from Allentown, Harrisburg, Hagerstown, Martinsburg, in this area in here. Because you have enough precipitation, I think, for 6+ inches of snow. But I think the rain snow line's getting close enough to you that that's going to be causing a problem. So In Albany, New York, by the way, we have 3 to 6 inches of snow. Hagerstown, Maryland, we're looking for 3 to 6 inches, 3 to 6 inches of snow as well. So that's something that areas, and let me look at some other areas here in, let me do something really quick here, and then we'll take a look at the other question I had here, which was Middlesex County in New Jersey here. So in Middlesex County, New Jersey. Let's take a look at Middlesex County, New Jersey. I think you can get a couple of inches of snow in Middlesex County, New Jersey out of this, about 1 to 3, 2 to 4. But thanks for the question here. And again, you can always go to AccuWeather.com and go to these locations like Hagerstown, Middlesex County. In fact, let me go to AccuWeather.com here, and I can show you what I'm talking about here as far as, let's say, let's search this and we'll take a look at Middlesex County, New Jersey here. There we go. Let me go back here. Like, so for example, let's go to Albany, New York. Because a lot of the questions I get are about, well, how much snow is going to happen at my location. So here's an example, a perfect example of how you can just go right to AccuWeather.com here. And then here you get the forecast. Watch this. You get the forecast. You get the winter storm watch here. And then here's wintercast for you. And look at wintercast. And take a look at wintercast here. So this is the nice thing about wintercast. 4 to 8 inches of snow, starting at 7 o'clock, ending at 10 o'clock. And then not only do you get the AccuWeather forecast, so we're going in Albany 4 to 8 inches of snow. I said 3 to 6. We're actually going 4 to 8 inches of snow. There's a 76% chance of that. So what are the probabilities of getting more than 8 inches? About 10%. What's the probability of getting less than 4? About 12%. So that's why we're zoning in on 4 to 8 inches of snow in Albany. Let's go to Middlesex, New Jersey. It was asked for that. So let's go to Middlesex, New Jersey. So here's our wintercast. There it is. See more. So 2 to 4 inches in Middlesex, New Jersey. See, this is why, and again, my input, by the way, goes in all these products as well. So starting at 5 p.m. Saturday, we have snow lingering till Sunday. Most of the snow is going to be in the afternoon. And again, 50% chance of 2 to 4, but 4 to 8, about a 42% chance. So again, this is the way that you can get those forecasts. All right. I'm going to leave you with this. I think we've gone long enough here. Let me look at my timer here. We've gone 17 minutes. Long enough. All right. I'm going to leave you with this as we go forward here. This is our accumulating snow map. This is a disruptive storm. Cities like Boston, 4 to 8 inches. Hartford, Providence, 6 to 10. Heavy snow northeastern parts of Pennsylvania. You start getting into a lot of central Pennsylvania locations here. You're talking 3 to 6, 4 to 8 inches of snow. So this is a disruptive storm.